people of the internet? It's your favorite garage dwelling Sarah here with another car review. And today I have a 2021 Dodge Charger Hellcat Redeye Widebody. Yes, let's get this review going. First up, you know it's a Hellcat because it has this badge right here on the grill, but they missed the eye. This eye is not filled in with red. All the other ones on the car are. The other ones actually have little red jewels inside the cat's eye. I love that. At least one person is gonna ask if this hood scoop is functional. Yes, it is functional, as is the ones on the top. See, down inside there, functional vents, because this thing will get heat soaked with a quickness. So it has to have functional vents all the way around. Now, because this is the wide body, it comes with a square stance set of forged 20 by 11 wheels with 305 35 20-inch Pirelli tires on them. I personally love the concave to this wheel and the perfect amount of spokes too for this car. Behind them though is a set of two-piece 15.6-inch front rotors, 13.8-inch rotors in the rear with 6-pot monoblock Brembo calipers up front and 4 pots in the rear. And it needs all of that braking because this thing weighs in at over 4,500 pounds. And here's that weight in kilograms. I can't do the math in my head, I'm not that smart. I don't know what I'm looking at back here. I was trying to say something about the back end of the car, but you guys have eyes. This car kind of does too. That looks like a giant raccoon's eye, a car raccoon, a carcoon. You can't buy one of these without a wide body anymore. I feel like the wide body kind of set the standard for the Charger. Like, this is the way a Charger should look. I appreciate the fact that Dodge offers a wide variety of different colors for this Charger. This one obviously is gray and just kind of blends in with every other sedan on the road. But you can get it in bright, in-your-face colors, and I think that's the way to go with a car that has almost 800 horsepower. So I don't know, how would you guys have yours? Let me know in the comment section below. The upside of the Charger being so big, you could literally use the trunk as a tiny home. Peanut butter leather. I know it's not called peanut butter, but I don't care. I am such a fan of this color combo. It looks so good with the gunmetal paint on the outside. And it is comfortable. This is a road trip car, a full road trip car. You can load it full of people and I would sleep back here. Ow! But bolstering, it's good, but it's also like sitting in a sofa. It's super comfy. Actually, this is not too bad. The seats are heated and ventilated, obviously, for the price of this thing. It starts at just over $80,000. That's weird. You can see the little button underneath the clear lens. It has this carbon suede package. It gives you a suede Alcantara headliner and real carbon in the dash, but is not glossed. It's mattified carbon. You could literally knock someone out cold if you hit them with this headrest from the seat. It's like the size of a basketball. I kind of like this little accordion slidey dude. Oh, that's cool. It's a coin tray. Back windows on this car go all the way down. They don't have that child safety feature, which would be terrible because this window is so tiny. The giant square hole that is cut out in the roof and filled with a chunk of glass is optional. You can do without that. Obviously, common sense would dictate you don't put anything other than a capped bottle in this cup holder, but they're very specific. They don't want any cocktails with straws in them in this cup holder either. I feel some people will criticize the interior of this car and be like, ugh, this is almost $90,000. You can get so much more for your money. But you have to take in consideration the drivetrain that is in this thing. That's what you're paying for. Love that attention to detail. You notice the inside of the eyeball on the Hellcat is red? Literally no one watching cares about any of the stuff I just talked about. So you guys just want to hear the sounds and see it go fast. So, okay. That sounds so f***ing awesome revving it inside here. With that $8,600 add-on package to this, there's really only one feature under the hood that matters. We'll talk about that here in a second though, but as far as everything else goes, you get a 220 mile per hour speedometer because this thing's top speed is 203 miles per hour, or this many kilometers per hour. I actually don't know how many clicks that is. That's got to be well into the 300s. 330, if I could guess. Let me see. It really doesn't say. This right here has to be hands down the best feature about this car, and I don't know why other manufacturers don't do this. In fact, they do the opposite. This thing will actually read fault codes right here in the gauge cluster for you. Love that. This also has an Alpine sound system, and I'm always a fan of Alpine stuff. You don't see it in a lot of new vehicles, and it does sound good in here. All right, enough of this nonsense. Time to go do mischievous things. As far as drive modes go, there are quite a few things in this infotainment system, so I'll make this simple and quick. So right here I have it in the custom setting, and you can see there's individual categories that you can select and configure the way you want. And yes, you can actually configure the horsepower. You can turn it down to 500 if you want, which I don't know why anyone on earth would buy this car and do that. You also have some pre-configured modes, so you can go to sport and it puts everything into sport mode, and track, guess what? Puts everything into track mode, but you didn't see that coming. This also has a race options you can select right here, and yeah, that has line lock. Yep, so that functions as advertised. Also, it has launch control, and you can configure where you want it to launch at exactly. Chiller, we'll talk about that in a second. And then you can configure your shift light, and also has a race cool down mode. I like that they have cool modes in here as well, because when you live in a hot desert climate, that's a real issue. With all that said, it's now time to let this thing rip. Ready? Go! Ooh, jeez. This thing don't around. Woo! Hello, welcome to Garage Science with Sarah. Under the hood of this 21 Dodge Charger Hellcat Redeye is a 6.2 liter pushrod V8 that produces 797 horsepower at 6,300 RPM and 707 pound-feet of torque at 4,500 RPM. It's all possible thanks to a 2.7 liter IHI twin screw blower sitting on the top of that V8 right over there. That's running at just a smidgen below a bar of boost, 14.5 PSI to be exact. On top of that, this thing also has what's called the power chiller. It utilizes the refrigerant from the AC system to cool down the supercharger. That is absolutely brilliant. Downside though is can only go one place, which means you have no AC in the cabin while it's doing that. And the comments are gonna say what they will about Dodge, but I will give them this. They are building more enthusiast-focused vehicles than anybody right now. I mean, they're sticking this crazy ass engine in damn near everything, and I love that, and I wanna see more manufacturers focus on enthusiasts, because I think in the long run, you just make a better product for everybody by doing so. It's time for the braking test. No one behind me? Ready? Ooh! That was almost a G.5 of braking. It's got a lot of pedal travel. I feel like the brake pedal moved like that far. It stopped though. Stopped pretty quickly. Hello, I'm back. Now we're gonna stick our head up a cat's ass and see what how it meows. Oh, whoa! No way! They're Bilsteins! It's got a little external bypass reservoir right there. Interesting. I didn't know this thing had Bilsteins on it. That's cool. It is adaptive suspension also. These 4-pot rear Brembos are bigger than most cars' front calipers. It's got a little bit of tar slung up on the exhaust. That's a big ass diameter pipe too. This thing's got a fairly beefy rear end on it too. It's a 2.62 final drive ratio. All kinds of fins on this thing. There's an X pipe right here in the center of the exhaust. You can see it's huge diameter all the way up to the front. And then right there, that's really hard to point to, that right there is the ZF8 HP90 8-speed automatic transmission. It's a real delight to drive this thing. I would absolutely want to wax that. That's what he said. Here's a little Easter egg. Deep tooth motor. Sounds like a really terrible garage band from the late 80s, early 90s. And that right there is something I've never seen before on a brake rotor. It's only one little slot, just one, right here on the back half of this two-piece rotor. I felt all the way up there, there's no more. Unless there's one inside this massive caliper, which takes up a quarter of the entire rotor. If you look under the front bumper cover, other than all the scratches from journalists bottoming this car out, there are some vents right here built into the underbelly plastic that direct air at your brakes. Thought that was kind of cool. Whoops. I really didn't even mean to do that. This thing's just, you can't drive this thing like a normal human being. I love the noises this car makes. So I have the suspension set in street right now because I don't really see a benefit in keeping it in the track setting unless maybe you're on a really smooth track. Because even still on this road I'm driving on right now, I still notice every little crack and imperfection in the asphalt in my butt. Oh man, that's good. You absolutely have to drive this thing with the transmission set in the most aggressive setting because every time it shifts, it's like someone is drop kicking you in the spine. I love it. Oh, that's great. It just like, every time you shift. This ZF transmission is impressive. The fact that it can take this kind of abuse and still be enjoyable to drive too. When you take it out of the track setting, the shifts are soft. I don't really want them to be like that when I'm driving this car, but oh yeah, you can feel that weight floating around this corner. It does a good job though, considering this thing weighs more than some mid-sized pickup trucks. I like the little subtle poof coming out the tailpipe when you let off the gas. It's not like an annoying crackle and pop like a fake burble tune, and I can't really talk shit because I have a burble tune on my Forester, but it's just like a little boof. No normal person buys this car is just a commuter. You buy this car because you want to do ignorant shit and make loud noises and irritate people and just destroy tires, and that's the beauty of it. If you want to worry about fuel economy, what's more worrisome is the range. I've found myself going, oh wow, where's the nearest gas station already? That's more worrisome than the actual miles per gallon. And considering this thing is capable of running a mid 10-second quarter mile in mid 3s, 0 to 60, the miles per gallon is adequate, I feel. And speaking of drinking gas, they also hit you with a gas guzzler tax of $2,000 added to the price of this car. The only tech feature I was disappointed that this didn't have was radar cruise control. That was the only thing I was kind of like, really? No radar cruise? Other than that, you don't really care about crap like that when you drive a car like this. If you guys have never seen one of my car reviews before, I have multiple categories to rate and assess them. Starting with the bean score. There's a rating of 1 to 5 beans based on the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And this 21 Charger Hellcat Redeye is getting a rating of 4 beans. Despite this being one of the highest horsepower cars I reviewed, it is not the highest bean score, and that's just because of the power delivery. This thing is fast in the quarter mile, probably one of the fastest of anything I reviewed, but it puts the power down in a linear fashion and it pulls like a freight train up high. Next is the cookie score. It is an assessment of what you get for what you spend on a 1 to 5 cookie scale. And this Charger right here, as equipped, is getting a rating of 3.1 cookie. Despite this car being almost $90,000, which some will argue you can get more for your money elsewhere, I think this car is going to, one, hold its value well, if not, maybe one day start going up in value like the Challenger Demons did. And it's a phenomenal drivetrain in here, and that is not cheap to put in a car and then slap a warranty on it. Lastly though is the Penguin score. It is a rating of 1 to 5 penguins based on how much I personally like a vehicle. And this Charger Hellcat Redeye is getting a rating of 3.9 penguins. I absolutely love that this car exists, and it's a ton of fun to drive and it's good looking, but I don't think I would ever want to own one because I don't think I'm responsible enough of a human being to own something like this. And I guess that's kind of the appeal of this car. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you soon with another. Bye! Beans! That just does not get old right there.